Welcome to Ray's Reflection Wednesday. How are you liking Psalm 1? Have you identified the type of literature it is and its topic? Have you summarized its message in a sentence or two? Have you listed its major sections and determined the problem or issue it is trying to address? You need to do this before tackling the second major question of analytical reading. And that's what we're going to start doing now. Look again at Psalm 1 with an eye for its special words, expressions, images. Do you notice these words for those who do not follow God's instructions? Wicked, sinners, scoffers. There's a subtle difference between these three terms. Wicked is a term referring to the attitude of those that aren't too excited about God's instructions. Sinners are those who've chosen to break from God in certain areas of their life. And scoffers are those who have decided that God can't do anything to them if God exists at all, and they begin to scoff at God's instructions and those who try to do it God's way. Did you notice the expressions of drifting further from God's ways? Again, I've outlined these in blue. You are listening to the advice of those who've got an attitude against God. You're walking in the pathways who habitually do their own thing. And now you've taken a seat among those who mock God's ways and those who try to live according to God's ways. Now, those previous actions and nouns talk about the people who don't do things God's way. But do you notice the contrast between these folks and the attitude of the righteous? The attitude of the righteous delights in God's law or instruction. Instead of listening to the voices of the majority, or taking the path of least resistance, or laughing at the righteous whispers or murmurs to themselves or meditates to themselves the Lord's instructions constantly. Now, did you notice the contrasting images of the righteous and the wicked? The righteous are like a tree rooted by an irrigation stream, leaves green, full of fruit at the proper time. The epitome of what a fruit tree and a righteous person should be. On the other hand, the wicked are like chaff that's blown away by any steady stream. And obviously, the wicked do not have a blessed long-term future. They'll not be able to fool God or the congregation of the righteous. On the other hand, the righteous are honored by God, and they mature to the type of person that God wants. Finally, the very last verse of Psalm 1 gives us its major claim, which is the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked is doomed. This is its biggest claim. This is what it's saying in the face of wickedness, sinfulness, and scoffers. Note that I've not answered the questions in order. The order of the questions are merely reminders to make sure you address them before you go too far or close the book. I'll address the questions about the audience and the solution to the issues that Psalm 1 brings up, along with the major questions of 3 and 4, which is, do you agree, disagree, or are you mixed with the text message? And is the message of the text true? And what is its value? So please reread Psalm 1. Be sure you can describe what the psalm is about. Identify how Psalm 1 unfolds and supports its message. And then finally, critique the message of the psalm. Critiquing the message will bring your assumptions, your purpose for studying, and your contextual information that you bring to the text into play. And as you talk to others about Psalm 1, you will begin to see there's assumptions, purpose, and contextual information, as well as perhaps the method they use to study Psalm 1. Now, for those of you fearing critiquing a biblical text, just remember Abraham bargained with God over the innocent souls of Sodom, and Jacob wrestled with a heavenly being. So I'm here to tell you, God is wanting you to wrestle with His Word. Until next time, enjoy wrestling the text.